Hey everyone, welcome back to season two of Over the Hump. I'm your host Pablo. This is my co-host Joe. And today we have two guests.
Before we get into the interview, we want to say subscribe to the Brent Varsity Council YouTube channel and follow Brent Varsity Council Instagram page. So today we have Mr. Glazier and Miss Cho. How are you guys?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Good, feeling good. Thank you, guys.
So yeah, this the reason why I invited you guys today is to get the students to know more about the English teachers, right? So these questions are gonna be a bit on the personal side and a bit like school related. So I'll start off with the first question. What were you guys like as students?
This is true. Dolly, do you want to start? Miss Cho.
Sure. First of all, that seems such a long time ago. So I really had to think about that question. But I know for sure that I was not the best student until grade 11. So I was like, school, it was more of a place to socialize, be with my friends. I was not really academic or like at least academically driven until grade 11 because that's when I realized you actually need good grades to go to college. So after grade 11, I was like, okay, I need to focus. So I think even my friends could tell you that they saw like a transformation within me. I was much more focused. I really had a goal. So, all the high school drama and everything seemed to be more on the backdrop. And I was like, yes, I have a goal. I gotta get that done. I was very active in volleyball. So that was like my sport. And I also did things like NHS and student council, my junior year specifically. But yeah, I was pretty active, I would say, outside academics for sure. So yeah.
How about you, Mr. Glazier?
Sure, that kind of sounds similar to my experience in high school. I would totally agree that grades 9 and 10 were, I was like all over the map. And then by grade 11, I kind of found the kind of student that I wanted to be and just my interests were clear. I also went to two different high schools. So I spent my freshman year, I was at this massive school where I felt very much like just, kind of overwhelmed and lost. And then I switched to a really, really teeny tiny all boys school for grades 10, 11, and 12. And so that kind of made a difference, I think. I got really into cross country. So I was also an athlete like Miss Cho in high school. And that I think helped me like mature and find my way. And then by grade 11, I was pretty much set in being like really into English classes and just more motivated and committed to academics. But it took a while to get there, I would say. Yeah, for sure.
So our next question is, do you prefer the music you had when you were back in high school rather than the music that we have today?
I love this question. That's so good. I would say mid. Right? Go ahead. Well, we can take turns.
Yeah, go.
So, like I'm so bad at finding new music. I still listen to stuff I listened to in high school, like I don't know, the New Pornographers, Modest Mouse, Smashing Pumpkins, Nico Case. Like I don't know, I'm still really into those bands and artists, but I also love pop music, so I also love, I don't know, like Ariana Grande and, like Cardi B, like all those fun songs too, for sure. And I think I rely on the students, I rely on you guys for like any like references you have and recommendations. I kind of keep track of what's happening now. But I think when it's just me, like in my car or like doing the dishes, I listen to what I listened to in high school. So.
Yeah. Same. For me, 100%, I prefer the music from back in my time. this was, oh man, like my friend group in high school, we listened to a lot of like 90s hip hop and R&B. That was a jam. So yeah, for sure. Like that's the music that still gets me, like grooving when I'm cooking or, whatever. But like what Mr. Glazier said, I do love listening to what students are listening to. So like, for example, in my grade 12, well, my seniors now, when they were in grade 11 last year, I created a Spotify playlist for our class. And I told the students, like, add your songs there. And that gave me, an idea of, what are the songs students now listen to? So that was really interesting to see.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds super fun. A class playlist.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our next question is, what was your dream job when you were growing up?
Brent Manila Upper School English faculty. From when I was 5 years old. No, I'm just kidding. You go first.
Okay, that's a really good question, but I had so many dream jobs in my mind. But when you guys sent me these questions and I like thought about it, I was like, I wanted to be, I wanted to be a fashion designer, and I wanted to be like this other thing. But one thing I had in common with all those dream jobs was that I wanted to be a boss. I wanted to be a boss lady. So I was like, so that would be, honestly, if I could, just put in one word, it would be a boss. That was my dream job.
Why am I not surprised, like, at all? That's so funny. I think for me, like, I don't know, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a marine biologist, which I think is a popular, like, lots of little kids want to be that. But then I realized that I like hate swimming and I'm scared of water. So I was like, maybe I shouldn't do that job. And then, growing up in high school and college, I wanted to do something with writing. So I thought for a while maybe I would be a journalist, or maybe just a writer. And that kind of helped me find my way to teaching. And I definitely love whenever I get to write, like in this job now, whenever I get to write, even if it's just emails or whatever, I really enjoy that part of the job too. So I try to bring that forward. Oh, I think when I lived in China for like a year, and I taught English as a second language right after graduating from college. And everyone told me that because I'm tall and because I'm white, that I could find a job as a model. So I was like waiting. I was like, okay, like I'm gonna get scouted in Beijing. Like, let me get a modeling contract, and then like that never happened. So I was like, okay, that's not gonna work for me. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So, did you have another job before becoming a teacher, like full on?
My parents I always had to have a summer job. Beginning in high school, I always had to have a summer job because my parents didn't want me like laying around the house, I think, for vacation. So I worked at a Ben & Jerry's ice cream parlor. I like waited tables. I was a barista at a cafe. I was a summer camp counselor, which was really fun for like a few summers. I think one time I like interned at my dad's office. So just like little jobs. But then I would say that my first, I don't know, the one that I felt was like my first real job was when I was teaching English as a second language in China. That was like, I was 22 years old. Yeah, right after college.
Nice. So I think because I went to an international school, so a lot of my friends who had like after school jobs, sometimes we would all be tutors. That's what we would do. So I think that's kind of when I first started ever even think about like teaching as a profession, because I would tutor younger kids, specifically other Korean kids who are, who just moved to the Philippines to learn English. And since I can speak both Korean and English, it was a nice way to help them. So that's what I did when I was in high school. And then after college, I actually interned at like an event. I did event planning. And I seriously thought that was what I was going to get into, because I love planning events. And, I'm an organized person, so I like, do, and then I can boss people around, tell them what to do.
Yeah, the boss is important for you.
But then I got into teaching. So I can tell you guys that story in a little bit, but it was like I took a teaching certificate. I did a teaching certificate thing in San Francisco right after college. So, and that was not even because I wanted to be a teacher. It was kind of like, okay, I'll just do this thing while I'm looking for a job. So I was doing that. And then I went into event planning in Korea, which was really fun, but also a lot of hard work. I was having lots of sleepless nights and etc. And then I actually got into teaching. I was like, okay, maybe I'm gonna switch. But what I love about teaching is that I still get to plan. I lesson plan. Mm-hmm. I think one of my favorite things about my job is lesson planning. Because I love envisioning, like what I'm going to do first, second, third, having that organized, and getting that student interaction, which is what I would have done if I did event planning. And I also get to boss students around. So there we go. The boss Perfect. So yeah, that was Mia.
Okay, so for our next question, what are the best parts of your job? What are the best and worst parts of your job?
Great question. Whose turn is it to go first? You want to go first?
You can go first.
Oh, me? Well, I think that the best part is definitely working with the kids. It's like the best part of teaching for sure. It keeps me, that's why I go to work in the morning, right? It's just to be with all of you, and the energy and the humor, it's like the best part. And the creativity, I love all of that for sure. So I would say that's for sure number one. And I would say, maybe what the students don't realize is also the collaboration that goes on, like, among the teachers. That's also really, really fun. Like Dolly and I, Miss Cho and I just had a meeting with the other English teachers this morning, and it was just like, I love that. Like, it's just working with a bunch of really smart people who are really interested in education and have awesome ideas and really cool life experiences. Like, even just in the English department alone, like Mr. Johanna, Mr. Spacia, so many cool people to work with. And so I really, really enjoy that collaboration as well. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, should I go first? Okay. And no, the other question was worst. What's worst?
Oh, what's the worst? Okay.
You gotta think about that.
What's your least favorite? What's your worst?
Sorry?
What's your worst? And your best?
I really put a question mark for mine. But anyways, okay, I'll start with the best. For me, is just like what Mr. Glazier said, it's the students. But more specifically, I think it's for me, it's seeing students grow. Like, I taught like Job and Pablo, you guys were my students in grade 9. And now we're here, you are grade 11 doing this podcast. And I just love that. I love seeing students grow. And when I talk to students who I taught in grade 9 or in middle school, because I used to teach middle school in Subic and Baguio, and then seeing what they've done now and how much they've grown. Even literally sometimes, like, height is so awesome to see, and just so I feel really proud of you, proud of myself as well, and proud of Brent to see that growth. So that's wonderful. But not gonna lie, I also love the vacations.
Oh yeah.
I have lots of friends who work in corporate, and they do not have summer vacation. They do not have 3-day weekends like we do. So, yeah, that's probably one of the best parts of our job. Worst? I do not know. I honestly, I put a question mark for me. What do you, Mr. Glazier, what do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I was thinking, yeah, like worst part of the job? I don't know. Maybe like if there's suddenly, but this is actually like also secretly great, right? When there's like, oh, surprise, like the schedule has changed, but like that just usually means we have a day off. I don't know. Like that's. I was really struggling to find, and I'm not just kidding. Like I really, there's no worst part of the job. It's a really great job. It's a great career.
Yeah. So, as you guys said, you started like teaching early, like after college. Are there any like funny or like memorable incidents during your first couple years of teaching?
I have one. So before I was working at Brent, I also taught middle school. I taught 3rd and 4th grade. And there was one time, so I was at a really small private school, and we didn't have a cafeteria. So like the kids would eat in the homeroom, and I would supervise my little homeroom 3rd graders as they had their lunch. And so we were cleaning up the classroom after lunch, and this one kid, he had a milk carton and he's like pushing his trash into the trash bin, and he pushes his milk carton too hard because he's in 3rd grade, and like splashes all over me, chocolate milk soaking my pants. I turned and I see him look at me and look at the milk, and then I see him look over my shoulder behind me. I turn around, it's the headmaster and the admissions director, and they're giving a tour to like 10 parents. And I was just like, good morning. Welcome. Like I'm just dripping chocolate milk. Yeah, that was really embarrassing.
Love that. What was the student's reaction?
I mean, he's in 3rd grade. He was just like, he like twirled away and whatever. I like left me to do it. Typical 3rd grade baby.
Okay. Got it. Understandable. Wow, I have a lot. But some of them are also inappropriate. So I'll share one. Okay, one is when I was teaching middle school. I don't know why, but I think it's the middle school. When you're in middle school, the students, their hormones are like they're just teenagers, things like that. So they were very, very much interested in my love life. They were like, "Miss, do you have a boyfriend?" And I'm just like, guys, like back off, like relax. Let's learn about this poem today. But they were, and it came from, I would like to believe, it came from very good intentions. I think they were really concerned about me. They were like, "Oh, Miss Cho doesn't have a boyfriend. Oh my gosh, what's gonna happen?" And I remember this one moment, one of my students wrote, because I had glass windows in my classroom, and I had these markers that students could write on the windows with windows on. So one time I was like looking around, I was just in my classroom like prepping, and then I realized she left a note like on the window of my classroom being like, "Miss Cho is not, something like Miss Cho is free," or like she's not taken or something like please find her a boyfriend. Like in my window, like everyone could see, parents, students, everyone could see this. And it was, again, I would like to believe it was because she really cared about me and she really, really wanted me to have a boyfriend, I guess. So yeah, that was, place. Yeah. So that's one moment.
Yeah, okay, so moving on. So Mr. Glazier, you mentioned to us last year in class that you started learning how to speak Tagalog. And Miss Cho, you went to Brent Subic, right? So how well can you guys speak Tagalog?
0%.
No, Mr. Glazier can speak Tagalog a little bit.
That's not true. I think, yeah, I was taking lessons. I am not taking lessons right now, but I hope to start up again at some point. I would say that my listening comprehension has improved. I mean, from a 0 to like, I don't know, 10%. But I for sure struggle to produce. I think one thing that's helping me is like, there's a ton of really awesome Filipino movies on Netflix. So I like to watch little clips like before I go to sleep at night, just to kind of, you know, practice. But yeah, it's tough. But I want to get better.
You say one sentence for us.
Okay, I was practicing. What can I say? Saan ka magpapasko?
Oh,
Ooh.
very nice.
I was practicing that, and I went to this. I was like meeting with some Filipino friends, and I was like asking them that, and then they would all respond, and I was just like, I don't know what you're saying in response. I only had the question. I couldn't understand the answers.
Oh. Wait, Mr. Glazier, ikaw, saan ka nagpasko?
Oh, I know what you're asking me, like where I spent Christmas. Yeah. In Binyan.
Sa Binyan.
Binyan.
Oh, nice. There you go.
But Miss Cho, how many languages are you at? You're like 3, 4, 5 languages.
Oh, just three.
Amazing to me. Yeah. Okay. So for the next part of this interview, we're gonna try to do something different than what we usually do. So we asked Miss Cho and Mr. Glazier to list down 3 books, movies, songs, TV shows, any kind of media that they think defines who they are or represents a very important moment in their life. So you guys can take turns like listing down your 3 things.
Sure. I don't know, Miss Cho. I did a book, an album, and a movie. I don't know what you did.
I think I have a book, a movie, and I'm still thinking of a third one.
Okay. Well, so we can do books first. We're talking about reading.
Sure.
I would recommend, just back to what I said about 19th century literature. If anyone has not read or heard of Thomas Hardy is my favorite author, I would say. I really recommend any of his novels, and I would start with Tess of the D'Urbervilles. It's like the quintessential Victorian novel. If you enjoy Pride and Prejudice, you would really love Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy, my favorite book.
Nice. Okay, I have 2 books, fine, but I'll share both. Because this is apparently media that defines you. So for me, number 1 is I am a Christian, and I would say like the first book that I ever read or was ever read to by my parents was the Bible. And I think that, and it's also part of my faith. So I feel like the Bible is definitely a book that really defines me and my life. But another book, it's like, okay, this is totally opposite, but the one book that really, really got me into literature in my senior year of high school with my teacher, Mr. Bacayao, if you're out there, oh, I miss you and I love you. He's an amazing English teacher, and he's really the one, I would say his class definitely opened my eyes to literature. But anyways, the book is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Okay, it's like a book that's this thick, kid you not. And when I first saw it in class, I was like, you are crazy. There's no way we're reading that book. But I would say 90% of our class all read that book because our discussions in class were so fun. So I mean, like pat on my back for like actually even reading that book. But that was an amazing book that I read, and I feel like I need to read it again as an adult now, because I think it's definitely going to resonate with me maybe a little differently as an adult. But yeah, those are my two books.
Yes, great choice.
What's your album?
So yeah, for album, Kate Bush is the artist, and the album is The Hounds of Love. It's amazing. I worship her, but that is a great place to start. She's British singer, really like avant-garde and crazy vocal style. Yeah, recommend that. It meant a lot to me, like early college. That's how I found found my tribe. It was like, oh, they're a Kate Bush fan. Okay, cool, they're good. So yeah, I listen to it all the time. So.
Nice. Okay, mine is gonna sound like maybe not super cool, but still very cool. I'm like, okay, no, not embarrassed. I'm very proud. Okay, when I was in middle school, like boy bands were a big thing. Okay, so Backstreet Boys album 2000, I think it's called like Millennium or something like that. 2000 was like the thing, guys. It really defines me, I must say. If you go to a restaurant or like a bar and like you hear a Backstreet Boys song and you look around the people that are singing the song with you, those are my people, right? And it's a defining moment in our lives, like the year 2000, right, Mr. Glazier, when that New Year's Eve event, that was a big moment for us.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna say the Backstreet Boys album.
Well, also, if you look around a restaurant and you see people singing that song, one of them will be Miss Cho.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. So there's that.
Excellent. Yeah, and the last one, I have a movie. A movie that has meant a lot to me is Hedwig and the Angry Inch. It's a musical. It's really entertaining. It's crazy, and I recommend people to seek that out. It's a little bit out there. It's pretty weird, but yeah, that has been a favorite of mine for years and years. Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Mine is also a movie. This is the first movie I ever watched in a movie theater at an SM. And it's The Lion King. So it was the first movie I ever watched, and like my memory is terrible, but I like very clearly and very vividly remember this moment in my life where we went to the theater. It was my mom, my dad, and myself, and I just remember sobbing when Mufasa died. That has scarred me for life. Ooh, that pun there. But yes, it was very traumatic for me because that idea of loss, losing a parent, I think was it's like, oh wow, never thought about that as a kid. But yeah, that's definitely a movie that is a very big part of my memory and myself. So yeah.
Thank you for your guys' media that define you. That was really interesting, getting to know our teachers like that. So, for our last question is, if there's one thing you'd want your students to take away from these experiences that you've shared, what would it be?
That is a really good question. I would say oh no, do you want to go first?
No, go.
Okay. I would say just be open to making mistakes. Like getting comfortable with making mistakes has been something, I think I'm still working on that, like personally, but it's how you learn, really, thinking about academics, and also just forget that, but just about who you are. I think that it would be a big piece of advice that maybe I wish I had heard when I was in high school. That it's like it's okay. It's okay to mess up, and it's okay to completely embarrass yourself, and having perspective and like being able to look back and thinking, oh wow, that really was not a big deal, and like I'm actually glad that happened. That has that has been true for me in my life many, many, many times. So yeah, making mistakes, being okay with that, and like being easy on yourself. Be easy on yourself. Being forgiving of yourself.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. For me, I think, and this is an advice that I like tell myself a lot. You're never alone. You're never alone in whatever you're doing. You always have friends. You always have an adult or, you know, a teacher, a parent, you know, you're never alone. And I think sometimes it's easy for us to kind of, you know, clam up or like just go into our corner and think we're just dealing with this yourself. But you can always have another person. And sometimes that means you reaching out to them, not the other way around, right? But in line with that, I would highly recommend many of my students to find a mentor. It could be a mentor in like at school, so another like teacher or another adult, but it could also be someone outside of school. So it could be someone that, you know, that you look up to or whatever. It could even be a peer as well, right? Or someone from another batch. But yeah, it's awesome to just have a mentor that you can always go to for advice, for questions or anything like that. But again, if you don't have a mentor, if you're like, oh, I don't have a mentor in my life, reach out to someone, and you know, build that relationship with them, because it's always nice to just, you know, have someone to talk to chat with and things like that. So don't be alone. If you need a mentor, email me. We can talk, or email Mr. Glazier.
Yeah, I second that. That's a great.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you guys so much for, you know, joining us on Over the Hump. It's been a very insightful time for us. Thanks for everyone watching, and from all of us here, you know, stay clean in quarantine.
Stay clean in quarantine.